Some tense moments along Park Ave this week as a motorist suddenly plows into a brick building, causing a picture or two to fly off the walls. We'll tell you how it happened. A proposed bike trail in the Hills Hill area meets some resistance from residents. They say these trees are critical for the future of Arlington. And those wacky Plucky dippers are back. How did this Fab Four fare? Well, no beach baby songs to sing here. Nope, more like foreigners cold as ice. And these folks are willing to sacrifice. ACMi News is next.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered, giving you stories that count from people who care. Reliable, trustworthy, dependable. This is the nationwide award-winning ACMi News.
As many of us know, parking on Park Ave can be a headache at times. But on Monday, January 30th, one attempt to park caused major damage. But it could have been a lot worse. Hello, I'm James Milan.
And I'm Summer Maxwell, so glad you could join us. It happened around 1:30 in the afternoon. Police and fire crews say it appeared as though the 77-year-old driver of this Ford four-door sedan hit the accelerator thinking it was the brake and slammed into the Skillmere business at 81 Park Ave. You can see the car jumped the curb, then a high curb damaged the fence and struck the brick building head-on with such force that the airbag deployed on the driver's side. Workers say they first heard a loud boom and immediately came to the driver's aid, while emergency crews rushed to the scene.
We were sitting upstairs, and fortunately the woman who works down here was on vacation. And the window was open, we heard a loud noise of an engine revving up very high, and then there was a big impact to the building. A couple of things fell off the wall in the next office. So yeah, the building definitely, you felt the impact. And we basically just ran downstairs and saw the car right here in the front yard. Yeah, she looked, certainly she looked shell-shocked. We went there, I was removing the fence so that my partner upstairs could open the door. He's not here today, but yeah, so he helped her out of the car.
Now, the building inspector has already been here. What did you hear from the building inspector? Is there extensive damage, or how are things standing now?
As far as we could see, it's cosmetic so far. When the fence, obviously, and some landscaping damage, but there's a little bow in the building. But she hit the strongest corner of the building. You know, she hit the building right on the corner.
The driver did not appear to be hurt, was treated at the scene and driven home minutes later. No one was injured inside the business either. We're told the driver was involved in another accident not too long ago. As a result, she may have her license revoked.
The much talked about overnight parking pilot program is expected to be town-wide and cost a fee. That, according to opinions expressed at the Select Board meeting late last month. If approved, the program would run for 6 months, lifting the on-street parking ban between 1 and 7 a.m. for a single side of the street. According to Your Arlington, the administrative cost of the pilot is unclear, in part because the board is unsure how much demand there will be for on-street parking. Select Board Chair Len Diggins says currently 45 people have permits to park in municipal lots, but board members think the pilot could attract more residents.
I've been thinking about the fee, and we don't know what it's going to be, of course, but I'm open to being talked out of this, but I right now feel like it should cover the cost, the incremental cost, if there's going to be a cost of administering a much larger permit program. So for me, I need to know, it's a little chicken or egg because we don't really know what the demand is going to be. I think we can expect it'll be substantial, but that's a guess. So I'm glad I don't have to guess what the uptake will be, but we do need to at least make an educated guess, an informed guess about what the uptake and workload will be for administration of it. And I would really want to see a very thorough analysis of that so that we understand what we're getting into, so that we are confident we can do it.
Some board members expressed interest in using the fee to deter people with easy access to driveway space from parking on the street. But Town Council Doug Heim reminded the board that the town cannot use a fee to discourage people from engaging in a particular activity. Board members plan to vote on the pilot sometime in this spring. You can see the Select Board meeting in its entirety. Just go to our website, acmi.tv.
A virtual Community Preservation Act committee meeting took place this week. Among the issues on the agenda, the possibility for a mountain bike trail in the Hills Hill area. The Park and Recreation Commission has hired Powderhorn Trail Company to perform a feasibility study of these grounds for the mountain biking trails. But members of the group Save Hills Hill say more discussion is needed for such an undertaking.
One of the things that we haven't discussed is, even if we spend money on this track, this is not one-time expense. All the tracks that I have visited, they require enormous amount of work. Every year you have to truck in loads of dirt, and water is needed to shape the hills after every rain. Also, you cannot use those trucks when it's raining, when it's damp. Even morning dew will make those trucks unsafe, the composite trucks. They are closed in the winter. After severe rains, you have to rebuild most of these paths. So even if we build the track now, 10 years from now, we have to replace the composite parts. We have to replenish the dirt every single year, which means we have to have heavy-duty machinery bringing the dirt.
We're concerned about the trees because, as we know, as we're learning, mature trees are more resilient in these very hot summers we're having. Newly planted trees, young trees don't have the root network to withstand severe drought. A tree inventory, a habitat inventory has not been done at Hills Hill. Park and Rec has made no commitment to do so. The organization Save Hills Hill, which you can find at savehillshill.com, has a lot of information on that website about our concerns and about the work that we've done, about whom you can write to, questions we should be asking before a project of this magnitude, potential impact on the environment, and expense is considered.
We contacted the Park and Rec Commission members to get their take on this issue. We are waiting to hear back. The Park and Recreation Commission held 2 public sessions on this proposal. You can view those presentations on the town website, arlingtonma.gov.
Arlington is getting ready to celebrate Black History Month in the Heights. Earlier this year, the town's Commission for Arts and Culture was looking for artists to design 6 triangular banners highlighting Black business through history. And they found 2 10-year-old artists. And their banners are set to be installed on light poles along Mass Ave in the Heights all this month. The Human Rights Commission invited proposals from Black, Indigenous, and people of color to create new work or adapt existing works that would highlight the contributions that people of color have made to the business of our nation. The artists' designs will also be featured on websites and social media of project sponsors. And ACMi News contacted the artists' parents to get permission to talk to them. As soon as we hear from them, you'll get to meet this very talented pair.
One of America's first heroes of color is Crispus Attucks. Attucks has been immortalized as the first casualty of the American Revolutionary War. He was in the front line of a group of 50 patriots in Boston, defying British troops when shots suddenly rang out on March 5, 1770. As an African-American patriot, Crispus Attucks represents the 5,000 African-Americans who fought for an independent America. It's a struggle that continues to this day.
All that is definitely known about Crispus Attucks is that he was the first to fall during the Boston Massacre on March the 5th, 1770. Crispus Attucks, a man of African and Native American descent, was born into slavery around 1723 near the vicinity of Framingham, Massachusetts. What we know today paints a picture of a young man who showed skills for buying and trading goods. He seemed unafraid of escaping the bonds of slavery and managed to escape, spending his years as a seaman and a rope maker aboard trading ships and whaling vessels coming in and out of Boston's harbor. As British control over the colonies began to tighten, tensions escalated between the colonists and British soldiers, especially in the city of Boston. Seamen like Crispus Attucks constantly live with the threat they could be forced into the British Navy at any given time. On the evening of March 5, 1770, several Bostonians approached the guard in front of the customs house and began taunting him. The situation quickly escalated when a contingent of British redcoats came to the defense of their fellow soldier. More angry Bostonians joined the crowd, throwing snowballs and other items at the troops. Attucks was one of those at the front of the fight amid dozens of people, and when the British opened fire, he was the first of 5 men killed. His murder made him the first casualty of the American Revolution. Known as the Boston Massacre, this episode catapulted the colonies towards war with the British, and Attucks quickly became a martyr in the cause of our liberty. His body was transported to Faneuil Hall, where he and the others killed in this attack lie in state. In the years since his death, Crispus Attucks' legacy has continued to endure, first with the American colonists eager to break from British rule, and later among 19th century abolitionists and 20th century civil rights activists. In his 1964 book, Why We Can't Wait, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. lauded Crispus Attucks for his moral courage and his defining role in our collective American history.
Most historians agree the first musket ball that hit Attucks was likely not lethal, but a second musket ball tore an inch-wide gash in his chest, delivering the final blow. Crispus Attucks and his undying bravery has continued to inspire later generations to take up the call for equality and inclusion, something that this nation continues to struggle with nearly 253 years after his violent death.
Chief Julie Flaherty wants to thank the Rotary Club of Arlington, which recently gifted a drone to the Arlington Police Department. This drone will now be used by officers for emergency calls for services such as water or ice rescues and to search for missing persons. In the past decade, drones have become a valuable asset to police departments nationwide. Arlington Police will be able to monitor and search areas in a safer and more efficient manner. 4 Arlington Police staff members will be trained and eventually receive remote pilot certifications. And once certified, they'll be able to operate the drone on behalf of the department for various tactical and operational purposes and even community events.
Three school committee seats are up for grabs this election day, and you'll notice longtime committee member Bill Hayner is not on this year's ballot. Hayner, a town meeting member who considers himself more of a participant than an observer, says it's time for him to step aside from his duties and give others a chance at approaching town concerns.
No one should ever be so indispensable that they can't be replaced. I've been on the committee for 12 years. It's time for someone else to come in, and it's time for me to go. I've enjoyed it. The people I've worked with, we don't always agree, but when we disagree in a professional manner, and we support each other. It's a good group of people. They don't rubber stamp things. They ask questions, which I think it's important for people to know what's going on. And as far as I know, every one of them are as accessible to the people in Arlington when there's questions. And we have a wonderful new superintendent. I am excited about her and all the initiatives. She involves everyone. Final decision is hers, but she gets people involved, and she's not afraid to change her mind.
So what are you going to be doing with yourself in Arlington? You're going to do still, I'm sure you're going to get involved with Rotary and Flags for Heroes, things like that.
Absolutely. Continue with Rotary, active St. Vincent de Paul at the Catholic Church here in Arlington, and I'd like to go back and sub a couple of days a month. I used to do it every day. Too old for that. A couple of days a month.
You got a lot of teaching left in you.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I miss the little ones. To me, the world would be better off if they thought like 5-6-year-olds. Be honest, upfront, with no malice.
Bill was a school teacher for nearly 30 years. He and his wife Bonnie met in Arlington in 1969, traveled the country, and moved to Arlington for good in 1972. And Bill says he refuses to fade away. He says even though he's stepping down from the committee, you'll still see him around. For instance, you'll see him stripped down to his shorts and immersed in cold water outside in the middle of winter. Would you do that? Who would? Obviously Bill and 3 other dedicated people. They took part in the 3rd annual Polar Dip, sponsored by the Arlington Rotary Club. As this wet quartet was lowered into the water, they raised money for children abroad who could use a helping hand. Here's ACMi News Director Jeff Barnes.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat.
This is the 3rd annual Polar Dip, sponsored by the Rotary Club of Arlington. Just minutes before noon, the parking lot of St. Camilla's Church, the bright, beautiful sun shines upon 4 very proud Plucky dippers. But it might as well be 91.547 million miles away.
We got a lot more wind than we had last year.
You know, cold is cold, and wet cold is a little different than regular cold.
More than 24 people brave the cold chill of the winter winds to watch these 4 brave plungers take on water that is colder than the hydrophilic Mariana Trench. Why?
I think it's it's a great thing to do, and anything we do to make our community or world a better place, I think I'm all for being part of.
Let me tell you what, that water is icy, icy cold. When you're in that water, you might as well be a cold-blooded dead oyster in some undefrosted refrigerator, encased in some stagnant glacier on Pluto. When you're on that board, you sound like this. Yeah, but you get in that water, all of a sudden, we all sound like this. Yeah. A coloratura soprano. And believe me, those octaves, they stay up there for quite some time.
These are the crazies.
The magnificent 4 go up this cold steel ladder, look down at the frozen chlorinated concoction beneath them, and read the sign that requires you're putting your hands on your lap, and possibly other places, and then taking a dip while nature just guffaws.
It's all about having an exit strategy.
The torturous noon hour has struck. Time to face this unforgiving contraption that ranks up there with the Iron Maiden, breaking wheel, or thumb screw. The lead-off donkey wastes no time plunging into the brutal icy drink.
Where's the step?
So 1 step over this way a little bit, and then you want to go that way.
Okay.
Can I talk to you while you're in the water?
Yes.
The others quickly follow, valiantly, voices changing in a nanosecond. Despite the blood-curdling temperatures and the chasm-like screams from the inner soul, all spunky and rock-ribbed plungers were steadfast in their commitment to get wet and freeze in public, because all the money raised from doing a glacial Michael Phelps goes to distributing polio vaccines to children abroad who desperately need them.
I think it's important that we keep eradicating polio. You know, I've talked to a couple of people who recovered from polio when they were younger, and it's. I think it's important that we eradicate this, and if we can get, we're so close,
Every dollar donated is matched 2 to 1 by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Do you know how much money you've raised so far?
I know. I think it's close to $3,000.
For the 3rd straight year, the Rotary Club defeated these frosty depths, showing good order. And no plunge is terrible if the aim is true, and if the dive is clean and honest, and if it affirms courage and grace under pressure.
You don't have to freeze to help the Rotary Club exceed its goal. Your donation helps Rotary reach every child with the polio vaccine.
And thanks to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, your contribution will be tripled, getting Rotary members even closer to a polio-free world. Just go to arlingtonmarotary.com. Again, that's arlingtonmarotary.com. As you may already know, ACMi has you covered when it comes to local sports.
And this week is no different. Joining us in studio is ACMi sports analyst Owen Tambor. Owen?
Thank you, guys. Hi, everyone. I'm Owen Tambor, and welcome to this week's ACMi Sports Update. Arlington High School's boys varsity basketball continues to impress with a 4-game winning streak, tallying wins over Worcester and Woburn in dominating fashion, as well as their most recent win over Lexington on Tuesday, January 31st, 52-45. Sophomore Owen Hagelin and the boys will look to continue to win as many games as they can going forward as the push for the playoff heats up. And there's good news to report on the ice, as AHS boys hockey brought their A game with a win over Melrose Wednesday, February 1st, 3-zip. The boys sit at number 5 position in the Division I rankings in the state. The AHS girls team also sits high in the D1 rankings in Massachusetts, currently at number 8. And their chances are bright moving forward to move up that list after their crushing win over Melrose 9-2 on Wednesday, February 1st. In national sports news, the greatest of all time and longtime Patriots quarterback and 7-time Super Bowl winner Tom Brady announced his retirement online for the second time this week, leaving behind a legendary career that will stand for generations. We truly saw the best. Congrats, Mr. Brady. On behalf of all Pats fans right here in Arlington, a sincere thank you. That's a look at Arlington sports highlights for this week. Head on over to acmi.tv/sports or the ACMi YouTube page to see all AHS matchups in their entirety. I'm Owen Tambor, and I'll see you back here next week.
It originally opened in 1975 in Lexington, then another chapter began as the business eventually moved to Arlington Center in 1999. The Book Rack at 13 Medford Street is celebrating nearly 50 years in the business. The store has thousands of used books that are sold at discount prices, and their selection of the hottest new books is unmatched. I recently paid a visit to this Arlington institution and saw for myself that this very unique bookstore lives up to its name.
If you're looking to find a new book to read, the Robbins Library right around the corner is always a great choice. But if you're looking to take a book home to keep or give to someone else, the Book Rack right here on Medford Street is the place to be. Located in Arlington Center, the Book Rack is easily accessible. I went inside to learn how this business came to be. And the Book Rack isn't new to Arlington.
Right, it's the same age as me, so I'm like, oh wait, how old? Right, so this year will be 48 years in November. And my mother started working at the Book Rack when I went to school when I was 5. And so then I sort of hung out at the Book Rack a lot as a kid. And she bought the store in the 80s and then moved here to Arlington Center in 99. And then I took over in 2002. So we do used and new books, general interest. We special order stuff all the time. So we get new books in a couple times a week. So whenever someone's looking for something in particular, if we don't have it in, we can usually get it pretty quickly.
The Book Rack really has racks and racks and racks of books. They offer a wide range of titles for all ages and interests.
We open at 10 in the morning, and if anyone's here early, there's always people on the checking the door to see if we're open yet.
Arlington is the perfect home for this local bookstore, and the winter temperatures almost call for a hot cocoa and a good book.
You're able to come in, donate books, and you earn credit, which allows you to get part off your purchase next time you come in. I love it so much. It's just a really good store with really good people, and it makes you feel nice and cozy when you're inside.
I will say, actually, if there's one message that I think is incredibly important, is shopping local, whether it's at the Book Rack or any of the other bookstores in the area or the hardware store, anything. Just making the choice to see if you can find what you need locally makes a huge difference, and just taking the extra thought is great.
The Book Rack is currently open 7 days a week for buying and browsing. For ACMi News, I'm Summer Maxwell.
Fellow New Englander Stephen King once said, "Books are a uniquely portable magic." Well, it is really cold out, and if you don't like the book you've just started, the Book Rack will help you turn the page. Just call their friendly staff at 781-646-2665.
If you are a frequent ACMi News viewer, you already know that we are very proud of our internship program here. This spring semester has already begun, and we have 8 interns from area colleges and universities to tell you about, starting with Emerson Senior Karen Tsui.
Good morning. It's such a beautiful Friday, and I'm currently outside of ACMi, which is also known as Arlington Community Media. And this is also where the college journalism student Karen Tsui is starting her first internship. Tsui is a journalism student at Emerson College, and this is the second semester of her junior year. As a dedicated journalism student, she enjoys and does actively seek every opportunity to practice her related skills, both inside and outside of campus. I became interested in journalism since I was a freshman year in college. That was my major starting freshman year, but I became specifically interested in broadcasting journalism since the start of junior year. The internship at ACMi allows Tsui to focus on improving both her on-camera and behind-camera skills. And here she spends a lot of hours in the studio and the control room. Being an anchor at a morning or a evening mixed news shows is my ultimate career goal. Tsui is from Beijing, China, and she came to the United States in 2016 for high school in Asheville, North Carolina. Wanting to move to a bigger city to pursue her career, Karen got an Emerson College in Boston, Massachusetts. Besides spending time on schoolwork and internships, Tsui enjoys cooking and working out in the gym. She loves discovering creative ways to prepare delicious meals and sharing them with her friends.
I think she cooks pretty well, and the taste, the thing she cooked is just the feel like home.
With the arrival of the new year, Karen Tsui is looking forward to the next semester. Reporting for ACMi News, I'm Karen Tsui.
Thanks, Karen. And you'll be meeting our other enthusiastic interns in the upcoming weeks as they chart their course for success. I seem to recall an intern who finished her semester here last summer, but she's still here because she likes it so much, and we're really glad to have her. Her name escapes me at present.
I have no idea who you're talking about, James, but whoever she is, she seems fantastic.
And she is. And that'll do it for us this week here at ACMi News. Thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. I'm James Milan.
And I'm Summer Maxwell. We will see you here next week.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMI Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.